Jerry, come on over here, man. Very nicely done. I felt like I was in the 1950s or something, because Catherine and I, one of our producers, we were looking at each other across the glass and giving thumbs up. The kid's got it. Print that stuff. We didn't know what you sound like live necessarily, and we were like, well, what if he doesn't? But I had a certain confidence that you were going to sound as good as you just did, because you actually record this record pretty much live off the floor, right?
Yeah.
Why?
A while back, probably like 3.5 years ago, the first time we went into a studio, Kyle was with me at the time. We had a couple other musicians with us, not these fine young gentlemen with us today, but yeah, it was sort of my first taste of studio, and it was kind of that do the basic tracks and live vocals after, and this guitar part here, this guitar part 5 days later, and I just didn't feel it, and I felt, okay, a lot of the people that I love, that I respect, and they go in and they just do it, for better or worse, like people like Neil Young. I mean, Neil Young gets away with releasing a record that sounds like, a bedroom recording, but doing it all at once with not much time to overthink things, right, it's like it just comes out very naturally and honest.
Now you're in your early 20s, you're a Toronto guy, right? So and I don't want to take anything away from the diversity of this fine city and how many different kinds of musical sounds that can come out of here, but you don't expect a guy living in and growing up in the urban environment of Toronto to necessarily be producing the kind of music that harkens back to Hank Williams. How did this happen? Why aren't you doing hip hop or something?
I know.
Or indie rock?
Sometimes I ask myself that. I should have been indie rocker. We probably could have been on like some huge like Warped Tour.
I don't know, man. I think you're going to find your thing. You find there's an audience for this for sure, especially in Canada.
Yeah.
But how did it happen?
My grandfather was a huge Hank Williams fan. All I heard every time. I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up. And
where was that?
It was East End Toronto too. Yeah. And my dad was a huge Dylan fan and huge Lightfoot fan. So that's what I grew up with. So it always seemed kind of, every time I heard a lot of other music, like if it was like indie rock or, I could still like it, but that seemed sort of different to me. It seems sort of like, what is this? Like I don't know. I don't understand this really.
This felt like the real deal to you. So you, and then when did you start? I mean, you've already made 3 indie records. When did you first start record, or actually when did you start first writing songs, let alone recording them?
Well, I started writing when I was about 10 or 11. It was shortly after a guitar made its way into the house.
How did it came knocking at the door?
Yeah. Had a nice mustache and a cool hat. Yeah. It came through my sister-in-law. My older brothers. I have 3 older brothers, and a couple of them are pretty close in age. They wanted to start playing music and start a band and rock and roll, coochie coo. And my sister-in-law had this small body Fender acoustic, and she said, okay, well, I don't play it anymore. I'll drop it off, and you guys can learn how to play. And if you like it, you can, buy guitars and start this rock and roll band. Well, while I was there, I was really interested in what this guitar was all about, because I grew up at a very young age worshiping already like Williams and Dylan and Beatles and stuff like that. For some reason, it just sort of, my spare time was spent listening to that, watching documentaries, and once I started reading a little bit better, it was all biographies, Yeah, so I picked up the guitar, and there's a couple books around that had basic chords, and I didn't really want to. Taught
yourself?
Yeah, I didn't really want to, but I didn't really want to, play like Hey Jude and Yankee Doodle as much as I'd like to now. Right. At that time, I just wanted to play. Like I wanted to see what I could come up with. And so I just got the basic chords and just started putting songs together, and they were extremely bad. But by the time I got into high school, 15 or 16, it started getting a little better, and by the end of high school,
you almost have a bit of a, I don't want to overplay it, but you have a bit of a country twang to your voice too. I mean, it lends itself to this.
I guess it's over listening. I don't, you pick up on that stuff.
Yeah. Is it true that you sort of very, I don't want to say in a cerebral way, but you construct your songs not in a cathartic way? They don't just sort of pour out. You actually think about what you want to write and how you want to write it and how you want it to sound. Which only surprised me because it's sort of the opposite of what an artist normally says, which is, I don't know, man, it just kind of comes out of me.
Well, it it does and it doesn't, right? Like some things are there's a little more work put into it where, like I find a lot of times, I'm always, every day I'm always writing words. Like always, I sort of probably, I remember Ron saying that, saying
Ron Sexsmith?
Yeah, that he writes every day, bad or good, to just kind of keep it going.
You do that?
Yeah, I try to write every day. I mean, I just have like
you make a specific time when you're going to sit down and write?
No. It's just if I'm around, if I'm able to,
Right.
And
do you carry a book with you?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah.
And you just scribble things that you.
Yeah, I always scribble. Yeah. There's always lots of scribbling. And yeah, so sometimes, I mean, a lot of stuff will pour out, and sometimes it might be perfect the way it is, and other times I'll go back and I'll take that idea, but I'll work on the words and sort of different approach to describing what I'm trying to say. I'm very into like descriptive lyrics. I like having kind of interesting, unique way of even describing this cup right here. Instead of calling it a cup, I like to.
What would you call it?
I don't know. Well, I try to think of something romantic.
Okay.
I'm sure there's romanticism in this cup. I've been drinking from it, right?
Right.
I'm a romantic guy.
You're still calling it a cup, though.
Well, right now I am.
Oh, it takes some time.
Yeah,
you need to carry the book around.
I'll come back in an hour.
Right.
Give me an hour.
How do you feel about the fact that you seem to be getting embraced by those who are at the top of the game in terms of the musical genre that you play, for lack of a better term, the roots singer-songwriter, Americana kind of sound. Josh Finlayson of Skydiggers co-produced this record. Ron Sexsmith is saying these glowing things about you and taking you under his wing. How's that feel?
Well, yeah, it feels great. People, that I respect like that, saying nice things and wanting to work with me. It makes me feel that, okay, well, I'm on the right track. I like just writing songs and playing, it's like, I obviously have to focus on a lot of business aspects, but I rather just write and play for just, it feels like that's all I can do, all I want to do.
Hey man, maybe I'm still a romantic about these things, but to a certain extent, I think if the songs are good and you can write and play well, it will happen. It will happen
thank
for
you. Yeah.
Wait, so I want you to give you enough time to play one more song.
Yeah.
Well, what song were you thinking of playing?
We were gonna do a song called "Mansion Around the Bend." I know you like "Drive Away Tonight,"
but it doesn't mean you have to play that. But you could.
I'll play. We'll have a private show after.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
But okay, "Mansion Around the Bend." You want to tell us anything about this before you play it?
Yeah, this is actually a love song on the record, and it's about a girl that I care about in Sudbury, Ontario, and and it's just sort of.
She's still in Sudbury?
She is, yeah.
And you're here?
I'm here, yeah.
What are you doing about that?
I don't know. Time will tell, right?
Yeah, writing a song is a good first step.
Yeah.
Jerry Legier, his new record is called "You, Me, and the Horse." It's a really strong record. He's going to play a song called "Mansion Around the Bend." I should mention once again, he's here with Dan Mock on bass, James McKee on fiddle, Kyle Sullivan on drums. This is Jerry Legier live in Studio Q.